Hey everyone, Noah. Here the United States Senate has crossed a line from which there is no return. This morning, the chamber descended into historic, unprecedented chaos as a coalition of 18 Republican senators joined with all 51 Democrats to advance articles of impeachment against Donald J. Trump. Let that reality settle. For the first time in American history, a president faces formal removal proceedings not from his political opponents, but from a rebellion led by members of his own party while still seated in the Oval Office. This is not a symbolic gesture or a political maneuver. It is a constitutional mutiny, triggered by a classified intelligence briefing so devastating that senators who spent years as Trump's staunchest defenders emerged pale and shaken. Speaking of betrayal and treason, when the Senate Majority Whip, a figure whose job is party discipline, breaks ranks to co-sponsor impeachment articles, the political scaffolding that has upheld this presidency for nearly a decade has not just cracked, it has imploded. The catalyst was not a leaked memo or a whistleblower's public testimony, but a 4-hour immersion in America's darkest secrets. On January 20th, the full Senate was summoned to the secure, soundproofed chamber known as the CIF, the Sensitive Compartmented Information Facility. There, the Director of National Intelligence and the Director of the NSA presented what multiple senators later described as an irrefutable and soul-crushing body of evidence. The allegation, supported by intercepts, financial forensic data, and sworn testimony, was this: that President Trump had systematically provided a foreign adversary with highly classified signals intelligence, details of military capabilities, and covert collection methods, in direct exchange for billions of dollars in approvals for Trump Organization real estate projects. This was not a policy dispute or a case of reckless talk. This was, according to the senators who saw the evidence, a deliberate, repeated, and documented transaction. National security secrets bartered for personal profit. The atmosphere in that secure briefing was described as funeral. Senators, stripped of their phones and aides, sat in silence as analysts laid out timelines, played audio intercepts, and displayed labyrinthine maps of financial transfers. The evidence was granular and overwhelming. Specific dates of meetings, the code words for classified programs that were uttered, the precise dollar amounts that flowed in the aftermath. Senator Angus King, an independent who caucuses with Democrats and sits on the Intelligence Committee, emerged to tell reporters, "What we saw today compromises not just past operations, but ongoing ones. It exposes methods and, most horrifically, it exposes human beings who risked everything for this country. Their lives are now currency that was spent." The partisan divide evaporated in the face of this evidence. Republicans and Democrats sat side by side, absorbing what amounted to a forensic autopsy of a betrayal. Within 2 hours of the briefing's conclusion, the dam broke. Senator Mitt Romney called an emergency meeting of what he termed concerned senators in a secure conference room. 17 Republican colleagues answered the call, a roll call of party pillars and Trump loyalists, including Whip John Thune, Judiciary Chair Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Bill Cassidy, and Todd Young. Romney did not mince words. "We have just seen evidence," he reportedly began, his voice low and steady, "that the President of the United States has committed treason for money. If we do nothing, our signatures are on that crime." The room, accustomed to political calculation, was gripped by a different calculus, one of historical judgment and constitutional duty. Then came the moment that shifted the tectonic plates. Lindsey Graham stood. The South Carolina senator, perhaps Trump's most vocal and televised defender through 2 impeachments and countless scandals, was visibly shaken. According to multiple accounts, his voice broke as he spoke. "Mitt is right," Graham said. "I have defended this man through things that kept me up at night. I told myself it was for the judges, for the policy. But this is the line. What we saw in there is treason, plain and simple." The admission from Graham, the partisan warrior, served as a release valve. It granted permission for others to voice the unthinkable. Marco Rubio, who as vice chair of the Intelligence Committee had seen even more detailed evidence, added grim confirmation. "The intercepts are clear. The money trail is clear. There is no alternate explanation. If we do not act on this, the office of the presidency is for sale to the highest bidder." By 8:00 p.m. that evening, this group of Republicans performed an act of profound institutional rebellion. They drafted articles of impeachment themselves, This bypassed the traditional House-originated process, a move Senator Romney justified in a subsequent press conference. "The House has demonstrated it will not perform its constitutional duty," he stated. "But our duty in the Senate is no less. When we possess direct knowledge of high crimes, we have an obligation to act." The two articles they produced were stark and specific. Article 1, Betrayal of National Security for Personal Gain. It charged that Trump knowingly and willfully disclosed classified intelligence regarding United States military capabilities and operations to representatives of a foreign power in exchange for business concessions. Article 2, Obstruction of Congressional Oversight. It detailed orders to executive branch officials to withhold information and instruct witnesses to defy subpoenas related to the first article. The supporting documentation, though partially redacted for public consumption, quoted damning specifics. On August 12, 2024, the President disclosed the precise capabilities and locations of redacted intelligence collection systems in exchange for foreign government approval of redacted Trump Organization project. It detailed financial flows. 3 days later, wire transfers totaling $847 million were initiated from entities controlled by redacted foreign government to accounts associated with Trump Organization projects. This was not vague allegation. It was a bill of particulars with dates, amounts, and descriptions of the nation's most guarded secrets. This revolt is historically discontinuous from Trump's previous impeachments. The first, Ukraine, saw near-total GOP unity in the Senate, with only Romney defecting. The second, January 6th, saw 7 Republican votes to convict, a record, but far from the 2/3 needed. This is categorically different. Here, the impeachment originates in the Senate, from Trump's own party. The evidence is not partisan testimony, but the intelligence community's own intercepts and financial intelligence. The charge is not abuse of power or incitement, but the capital crime of trading secrets for cash. The shield of partisan witch hunt has been incinerated by the very people who once wielded it. 3 pillars of evidence presented in the SIF proved unconscionable to the Republican senators. First, the intercepts, decrypted communications in which Trump's voice allegedly discusses classified programs using their correct code names, explicitly linking the disclosure to specific business deals he sought. This removed the veil of plausible deniability. It demonstrated he knew exactly what he was sharing and why. Second, the financial forensics, a Treasury Department map of money flowing from foreign entities to Trump-linked projects, with a timing pattern that mirrored intelligence disclosures. This wasn't a single questionable payment. It was a repeated, correlative pattern that intelligence analysts testified was indicative of a quid pro quo. Third, the whistleblowers. 4 national security officials, military and civilian, who filed protected disclosures. One declassified excerpt quoted Trump telling advisors, "They want to know about our satellite capabilities. I'll tell them what they want to know if they approve the Jakarta project." These were not anonymous sources in a newspaper. These were sworn statements from within the room where it happened. The constitutional and political consequences are immediate and paralyzing. The Senate is now frozen, a chamber transformed into a courtroom. All legislative work has ceased. The machinery of government grinds toward a halt as every actor, from cabinet secretaries to 4-star generals, must calculate whether to follow orders from a commander-in-chief who may be removed in a matter of weeks. America's allies are conducting emergency reviews of intelligence sharing. Adversaries are recalculating the value of every piece of information they possess. The presidency itself is weakened at its core, not by external attack, but by an internal verdict from the president's own political kin. The White House response has been a predictable torrent of denial and vitriol, a strategy that now constitutes a profound tactical error. Trump's televised address, filled with claims of a deep state coup and attacks on the traitorous Republican senators, did not engage with a single specific allegation. He did not explain the intercepts. He did not account for the financial transfers. This refusal to mount a factual defense and the choice instead to lash out at his erstwhile allies is proving self-immolating. By labeling Romney, Graham, Thune, and others as rhinos and cowards, he is not rallying the Senate GOP to his defense. He is handing wavering colleagues both the justification and the political cover to join the rebellion. Standing up to a president who betrays secrets and then attacks his defenders can be framed as courage, not disloyalty. As one veteran Republican strategist put it, he is building the case for his own conviction, one furious tweet at a time. We have now entered the uncharted territory of a Senate-led impeachment trial. The Chief Justice will preside. The prosecution will be led by a coalition of Republican and Democratic senators. The evidence will be presented in closed session to protect sources and methods, but its impact on the 100 jurors will be inescapable. The question is no longer if the evidence is damning, but whether the remaining Republican senators possess the collective will to reach the constitutional threshold, 67 votes to convict. This crisis transcends Donald Trump. It is a stress test on the very concept of national security and the sanctity of the presidential oath. If a president can be presented with ironclad evidence of trading military secrets for personal profit and still survive because of partisan loyalty, then the impeachment power is dead. The precedent is set. The classified holdings of the United States government can become a personal slush fund for the occupant of the Oval Office. This is the nightmare the founders envisioned and designed impeachment to prevent. The Senate now stands at the precipice. The trial will proceed. Witnesses, likely including the intelligence officials who briefed them and the whistleblowers who came forward, will testify. The nation will watch a surreal spectacle. Senators of the president's own party prosecuting him for the gravest of constitutional crimes. The chaos in the chamber is not mere disorder. It is the sound of the republic's immune system engaging at the latest possible hour, fighting a fatal infection. The coming vote will answer the ultimate question. When confronted with incontrovertible evidence of a president selling his country's secrets, can the United States Senate still summon the courage to stop him?